Hey everyone, I wanted to walk you through the process of adding a schedule to your Revit drawing from Sorcery. So you can see I've added a schedule here, Sorcery lighting fixtures. And what's cool about this schedule is it's not text-based, it's actually linking to the parameters. Of course, you can double click it, which takes you in there, which does allow you to edit. But typically you would not do your editing here. So how do we get to this point? So I'm just going to close this one out here for a second, and I'm going to delete this to start from scratch. So as you can see, I've gone through the process of syncing my lighting plan or my model to the Sorcery data. So if I click on a type here, I can, click on a type here, I can go to the family properties, and you can see that I have the Sorcery data here. So I've integrated the type and all that, not just the Sorcery type or tag type designation, but also things like website links and all that. So let's build the schedule. So one of the things you can do, go to the Sorcery tab. We have a create schedule button here. If I click that button, it will create a schedule for me, which is by instance. And those schedules, if I look at my project navigator here, those schedules live here. They're down here. I've added 4 because I've done this demo a couple times trying to figure it out. So every time you add one, it adds a new one. In fact, one of these is the one that I made that's all filtered. So if I open up 3, that's 3. That's one I've made previously or filtered down. So filtered down, that's the process that we need to go through. So right now, these are shown by instance. Here's a Sorcery type. Here's all the instances throughout the project. So in the schedule properties, which is here, right? Properties tab is open for the schedule. You need to know a little bit about Revit to do this, but let's give it a go. So I'm going to go through here. I can open up any of these and it takes me to the schedule properties, so which is a series of tabs. So all of these just leads to these tabs. So we can start in the beginning here. I think, in my case, and I don't need to know the family. Everyone's going to be different. Yeah, I don't know whether your families are going to have the type designation, but for my instance, I don't need that family data. I'm going to take it out. The type here, I didn't use. I synced in the Sorcery type, but what you can do is actually sync, when you sync Sorcery, you can sync it such that Sorcery type overwrites the type in the model as well, right? But that's another tutorial. So that's an attribute that you can actually overwrite, but I chose to keep it separate. So I'm going to get rid of that type as well. So now I have Sorcery type, wattage, color temperature, lumens, ballast. If I want to reorganize some of this stuff, like there's some stuff in here I know I just don't want, such as these, the image isn't going to show on that, so I'm going to get rid of that. The line drawing isn't going to show, so I'm going to get rid of that. Another way you can do this is when you sync to Revit, you can choose to not use these types or choose not to sync these variables, so you don't even have to do this, because only thing it's going to show here are the ones that you synced. Lamp descriptions, specification sheet, won't include that. The quantity doesn't matter from Sorcery. Maybe it does because I might want to compare it actually. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave it near the end. Um, associated submittals, don't need that. So it's a pretty good list. I'll leave it like that for now, and we'll see. Maybe I'll take out the website link um, and a few other things. Okay, so now I've filtered down the fields. Great. Next, I'm going to go to the filter tab here. I'm not going to filter anything right now. I'm going to go to sorting and grouping. So I'm going to sort by the Sorcery type, right? Ascending, that's great. And then by, I'm going to leave that. The formatting, I'm going to leave that. Appearance, grid lines, structure. The other thing I'm going to turn off, sorry, is itemize every instance. I don't need every instance shown. Let's see what that does. Then we can move from that. There we go. So I've essentially now filtered down. I'm not showing by every instance. I'm showing by it by every family type. And because I filtered it, I'm only showing the ones that Sorcery synced to. So again, I just sorted by the Sorcery type. I cleaned up the fields I wanted. There's actually another one I'm going to add is count, right? Count is, I'm going to put the count, the sorcery quantity. I'm going to give it a sorcery tag too. I don't need that. So I'm going to put the sorcery quantity next to the count so I can check if they're accurate or not. Because count is actually going to come from the model. Yeah, didn't do any filtering. You can filter by certain things. Sorting and grouping, again, I sorted by type. I didn't do every instance as an example. Formatting, didn't change too much here, but feel free to play with this. Appearance didn't change too much here, but feel free to play with this so it meets your standard. So what I did here though is I added that quantity. So I like this because now I can see the total count of the fixtures, but now I can see obviously my sorcery quantities are off. So what you can do, we don't have two-way sync yet, but what you can do is just go manually update these in Sorcery to make sure they're correct. So that's that. So now that I've created that, that's Sorcery Light Fixtures 4. I don't need to save anything, it's done. Let me go back to our lighting plan here. So confirm that is Light Fixtures 4. Of course, I can rename that if I want to. Here, I'm assuming I can rename. Oh, I've gone outside of view name. Here we go. Sorcery lighting schedule. I'm going to rename it to, so it's our master lighting schedule maybe, just so it stands out. Great, done. So now I'm going to go to my plan. Of course, I'll go to my project browser. You can access that project browser, I believe, by going view user interface and making sure it's turned on. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. Again, I've made some room on top here for it. I'm literally just going to drag the master schedule in. This should work. There it is. I just hadn't had it selected. I can kind of drag. Oh, it's gone. Done it. It's going to do it like 10 times or something. God love. Um, yeah, I don't want to do that. Sorry, everyone. Bear with me as I do Revit live. Anyways, I can move that there. And of course, I can do things. It looks like it wants to be putting it on multiple pages. I can do things here like resize these out so that these longer fields, here we go, there's the rest of them. I can drag these out a little bit so that the longer fields have a little more room to breathe, such that it fits on my one page. And then I can do that there. So, I mean, that was done in say 6 minutes or something like that, right? So it's very simple, but I really like it because you get your sorcery quantity here, your count here, you can cross-check that stuff. You essentially have your schedule right on here. It links to the actual family data. So if we were to update our sorcery project, it will update this, which I think is really cool. Just live, so we don't ever have to actually edit this thing. You just have to sync it and then it works. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks, everyone.